Berat gila tu. Okay, so welcome to the BGDcast once again, with your hosts Michael, Haris, and Zati, right? So by now you probably know our names anymore. I don't think we need introductions, but yeah. So today we'll be talking about are gains expensive. So I think we've talked about financials a bit before, right? With regards to the gym and equipment and stuff. But let's talk about it as a lifestyle, right? Like, why? Okay, so why are we talking about this, guys?
Why?
Is getting Jack expensive?
Is getting jack expensive?
Yes, that is the question.
That's what we left it off as, right? Like, okay, so with of course, like, you go to the gym, right? You obviously heard like, oh, well, damn, do you take BCAAs? Do you take pre-workout? Oh, what way do you take? Do you take like Optimum Nutrition? Do you take brand?
The thing that sprays in the mouth. I forgot what it's called.
What the fuck is the thing you spray in the mouth?
Heck?
Legit, okay, the other
In the
day,
mouth?
sidetrack before we get deep into this.
Alright.
So I was like, I don't know if
I
anyone
know.
follows what the heck is Nina? She's a
Oh,
local bodybuilder,
Alright.
female bodybuilder.
Nina. Okay.
Ooh,
She and
dropping
her
names?
boyfriend both are bodybuilder.
Dropping names?
Yeah, it's not like she's gonna follow this anyway. So
Someone
Eh.
read you out.
yeah, whatever. I don't care. I don't think she sells. She promotes this like performance spray, or I think enhances your performance in the gym. Some weird shit. Like, I was so upset given the amount of influence she has on the local scene, and these are the kind of things that she promotes. I'm just like, man, can't you do better? Like,
Yeah, right. Like a lot of like all these fitness influencers, like I think they promote like a lot of stuff that I think as experienced lifters we know don't do jack shit. I don't know another way to put this. Don't do jack
Anyway.
shit. That's about
It's
it.
probably a spray trend.
It's called like, I
Spray
think it's
trend.
L something. Like there's a weird. It's so easy. Just put some sciencey word on it.
Oh, what does it do for
There
you?
you go.
What does it do for you?
Yeah, like it doesn't even state. It's like very vague. It just enhances performance. I'm like, what performance? Like, but people buy into those. kind of stuff.
Dihydrogen.
Yeah,
Dihydrogen oxide.
I don't
Yeah.
blame the general population to
That-
be bought over those kind of stuff because chances are they don't know any better. They also don't know how to discriminate what's good and what's bad. So I guess that's what we're gonna talk about. How do we dive into like what are the things that when you first started lifting, what are the things that you bought and you clearly now find one is utter bullshit. Sorry for my words, but number two. There are cheaper alternatives that does the same. I guess. For me,
Yeah, you go first. Go first. I'm excited. I'm excited.
Yeah. So I was. I used to be bought over like lean shake and stuff. I'm not gonna lie.
What shake? Lean shakes.
Lean shake.
Leak shake?
Lean.
Oh, lean shakes. Oh,
Like lean.
That's
I
like,
thought leak shake.
Damn, lean shakes. Okay.
yeah. So like.
Wait, what are lean shakes like? I'm not too familiar
Yeah,
because I never wanted to be
Educate-
lean. I want to be jack and
Right.
swole.
If you go one of
Educate
those like, if you go to one of those health centric or drugstore or whatever that sells nutrition bottles or packages, there's like lean shake for women. I was like 17 probably, 17 or 18.
Mm-hmm.
No idea whatsoever. We also established I used to do cardio a lot, so I was like, yeah, lean is the way to go, and then I saw that and I saw like the image was like, oh, okay, that's the kind of body type that I want to have, and then I bought it and not understanding micronutrition or nutrition in general. So I guess I was bought over the fact that it shows a picture of a body type that I wanted at the time. So I took it on, not a single weight loss. Tastes horrible, and it's just in a pink bottle, legit. It's like skinny women in a pink bottle. Then that's what I bought,
It's
at-
just
at the age of-
marketing. It seems like
Correct. And then none of that I do anymore. And then when I started lifting properly, I was like, I went on my protein. I went on my protein, and like they arrange their product in bundles sometimes, or instead of selling it individually, they arrange it in bundles, like weight loss bundles, women bundles, or whatever bundles that is, mass gaining bundles. When basically it's just product repackaging, I guess, or repositioning, is what it is. It's not any different than if you buy it on a singularly. So I went like, all right, weight loss. I click on it. I like, right, let's just get. I think it had like thermal pills, some fat burning pills. It had like whey protein, and it's not just any whey protein. It's like isolated whey isolate, and it had pre. I think pre as well. I'm not sure. I don't think it has pre, and it definitely had BCAA. That I remembered. So I was like, yes, this is the bundle that I need to get, right? So I finished the whole stack. Does nothing to me as well. On buying stuff that I don't even know the science behind it. I never really like, okay, what stuff would make me, drive my weight loss or whatever at the time. I was just like, okay, I guess they product weight loss. I guess when I take this, I'll definitely lose some weight. That was the thinking. And I think a lot of people who are not that deep into the science or the understanding of nutrition, or even powerlifting, sports, whatever, they are not aware that just because you buy a weight loss bundle, it would make you lose weight. I think that I can speak that because I see that in some of my friends who don't live or are not into fitness, hoping for that miracle, I suppose. And I think I'm not sure about guys, but that's definitely the staple for most women who wants to lean out. So just tell me, what do you guys first bought?
I was gonna say, like, what they have, like, I first bought, I think it's like BCAAs, because I thought, like, yeah, you need, like, I think because I started out as like a bodybuilding. I don't know about you, Haris, like, but I think when we start as a bodybuilding sort of with a bodybuilding style training, like, you look at bodybuilding.com and they're like, holy shit, these are the BCAAs you should get. Like, you gotta keep that intra workout amino acid. You gotta keep the amino acid profile high so that you it's easy absorption. You get your muscle blocks built. Like that sort of stuff. Yeah, BCAAs. Yeah. Yeah. So TLDR for our viewers, BCAAs don't do shit. Right. For your lifting. So if anything, like, just drink some, just eat like gummy bears, or like to keep your energy up, or don't take BCAAs. They're a huge waste of your money, right? And so I started out with BCAAs, right, and then after a while I just realized they just taste like sweet water. It's literally just sweet water, right? Yeah. So with regards to like. Bodybuilders will definitely fight me on this, right? Oh yeah, no BCAAs, you need that. It's the amino acid. This is all like bro science though. Like, let's get real. Like, there's plenty of studies. There's plenty of studies out there that show that BCAAs don't enhance your performance in the gym, right? So, why do people still take it? Like you say, it's marketing. It's just a lot of that targeted advertising, right? And so yeah, it was the first supplement I took, and it's expensive as well. Like, it's how much are BCAAs now? I don't even know. Like, but yeah, it's
Probably 100.
it's about 100 over. So like yeah, we've got like BCAAs about 100 ringgit, I think, if you get like big, and that's for like 20 servings. 100 ringgit for 20 servings, right? Like, if you put that money towards like buying a gym membership, that's gold. Like follow our previous episode, you know what we're talking about. Episode number 3, I think. Yeah, so yeah, if you use that money to get like gym membership, or like save it up for like, some new equipment, that'll be putting your money to like good use, instead of just buying like sugar water. Yeah, there might be BCAAs in them, right? But they don't do anything. Like, it's scientifically like shown. So yeah, that was the first, I think, fitness product that I got that was a pretty much a lie.
Did you had a phase where you thought you needed like
Yeah. There was definitely a phase where like, oh yeah, these BCAAs, like I gotta make them during my workout. I gotta drink them, just so I get like muscles to grow, right? And then yeah, and that's completely wrong. Like back then, I was like 93 kilos, and within like a couple of months, nothing changed. Like that's and if anything changes, people would say like, oh yeah, it's because of I took these supplements, like, and that's how I got here, right? But in reality, that's not the case. Mostly, it's hard work and the amount of time you put in the gym, and people attribute like these successes to products that companies are selling. Like I feel like that's a bit irresponsible, and that's you're cutting yourself short, right? Like it is completely like it is inexpensive to get big. That's what I'm saying here. Like I mean, okay, with regards to supplementation, that you don't really need much supplements to get big and strong, I think, when you're starting out. Yeah. But what about you, Harris? Like, what was your first ever supplement fad?
I'm a bit scared now. What the hell are you gonna say?
SARMs.
So
At least SARMs work, right?
yeah. There's a saying that if it works, it's probably like illegal.
Yeah.
So,
It works.
you get it like just walking in the store, it probably doesn't work. Just get it over the pharmacist counter. Yeah, okay, that one probably with the prescription. That one probably works.
Yeah.
Anyway, actually, I was quite fortunate when I was starting out my journey that a lot of this informative content was already out on YouTube. So I was already watching videos like I think Matt Ogas and then Omar Isaf and some other guys who have already addressed this topic on supplements, like what supplements work, what supplements were BS. So in that sense, I was quite fortunate and that I was spared of wasting money. So I think I really only bought whey protein for like the first, and that was like sparingly as well, whenever my mom would agree to buying it. But when I had my own allowance and stuff, I think I only invested on creatine, which I think made probably just like aside, yeah, it's probably the best thing that you can invest in because it doesn't cost it's super cheap and you can kind of feel the effects like almost instantaneously after taking it for like a week, as opposed to the other supplements where like is this really working, like even with whey protein, like is it really making me recover more? But with creatine, I think you can already feel the difference in like a week or so if you take it consistently. So creatine, whey protein, pre-workout I take, and I recommend if you can take it without it affecting your sleep. But for that, I've never really fell into the trap of of all those the gimmicks, the marketing gimmicks, the BCAAs, and all this nonsense. In fact, I was probably the one who was trying to convince my fellow brethren that, hey man, this thing might not be what you're looking for.
It's not natty, bro. It's not natty. You just need better programming.
I'm just curious, right? So, because I touch a lot on, I guess this has to do a lot with psychology or like the environment that is around, the conversation that your peers talks about. What is the most talked about among young men? Let's talk about guys who are like just starting out in the gym, right? Like, what is the talk about? Are you focused on getting big, or are you focused on getting strong, recovery? Like, I feel like when you're experienced lifter, yeah, sure, you want to look for better recovery and whatnot. But for someone who just started, I doubt that's the conversation that they have. They probably just like, yeah, man, like I just want to look jacked or like dilated or whatever.
Yeah.
Because the conversation among women is probably just like, I want to lose weight. It's simple as that. I don't know why it's literally that. Yeah, like what do you guys? What is the common?
I think getting big, right? Harry's getting ripped and jacked, right? I think that's what it is for guys.
Yeah. Or I think one that you'll never fail to find is, hey bro, go eat protein.
So there wasn't really a talk about like what pre-workout you take. Like it's more towards like what
yeah. I get you though, Harris. Like do you take protein, right? Like yeah. People ask me that. So you take protein, You take protein. I'm like, yeah, I eat chicken, I eat beef, just like you know, like.
You're top fan, your protein, right?
Yeah, bro. Yeah, and
Yeah.
I think it's
Which is-
the general
which is
population thinks that like, oh yeah, like if you go to the gym, like you're out to get big, or like, and I think a lot of people that go to the gym as well, like when they go, it's like, oh, I want to get like ripped and shredded and like
you know,
big.
it's funny on the flip side because I remember, and still to today, if I buy whey protein, I think more or less my parents don't really talk about it anymore. Every time I get whey protein, it's like, oh, you sure if you drink this, it doesn't spoil your kidney? It doesn't make you big? And like, how big do you think I am at the moment? Like, I've been drinking this for I've been drinking this for months and months. Like, I'm still not as big as I want it to be. And then more so, I think like there's a lot of let's talk a bit about like cost, right? This whey protein is not cheap. I don't think it is cheap at all.
It's not cheap at
and
all.
what it is actually a source of protein, right?
Yep.
Is it convenient to have? Sure, I say 100%. If you live a busy life, if you feel like your diet does not account a lot of, your family or you yourself don't cook a lot of like fish, beef, or whatever, then having a whey protein comes super handy. However, I don't think that's the first thing you should get, because that is an alternative substitute, and in fact, it tastes better. So I think a lot of the supplement industry market it almost like a must-have. Instead, I don't think it's more like nice to have than a must-have.
Yeah.
Because you can get your protein source from actual food. Not saying that whey protein is not a food; it's basically dried skim milk. But when I realized that there's a dried skim milk, I rather take normal milk.
Yeah.
Skim milk than actually whey protein.
Yeah.
Besides the point, I feel like the reason why people fall into those traps is because it's marketed as a must-have, and not understanding that what it is actually. And the money, like you mentioned before, creatine and like BCAA, whatnot. Those are like supplements that they are contrasting in terms of benefits, but the price, oh my lord, BCAA, not to more shit on it, but it is completely useless if you have already met your protein target, because it's just marketed as this refined amino acid. I have no idea who came up with that idea, but it's marketed as this clean product, and people suppose like if you take on it, your muscles are quickly rushed to like grow, when in fact muscle growth is not directed towards.
It's almost like
available.
the more expensive a product is, the less useful it is, huh? I think we have a trend.
Exactly.
Kind of, yeah.
That's two pillars, right?
Yeah.
The more expensive, the less useful it is. If it's easily available, probably doesn't work.
Like chicken.
So, like I think to start with, like a lot of the listeners, if you are like, new to the fitness industry and it's still like scarring through, like what should I get? Whey protein probably not the first to get. I would highly recommend. For me, I would say creatine as well, same as Aris, because I have seen benefits. But if that doesn't convince you enough, maybe start with pre-workout, because pre-workout you can see the difference in the quality of work you put, productivity in the gym, and oftentimes they're not too expensive. The only problem is that oftentimes you don't get a brand that tastes as good. That's my problem.
Also, this is just a disclaimer. We are not medical professionals, and this is not.
Correct.
Do not take this as medical advice.
Yeah.
We are just merely giving our opinions for entertainment's sake. All right.
It's a conjecture.
Right.
Don't bite us on it.
Yeah. Just make sure it's there. Like, gotta say it out, guys. Yeah. So with regards to supplement, like, if you're like, to me, like, if you are lifting, I think the only thing you should be worried about is your food. Like, I think supplements, like, they are not the first thing you should think about when you start your fitness journey or lifting or trying to get strong. Because if you let's say if you head to the gym, right, and the first thing you think about is, oh, what should I take to get stronger? Then I think that's kind of a bit of a wrong way to approach it. Like I think, if you want to get, if you want to make gains, right, most of your money should be going into the quality of your food, right? Being able to just kind of supplement yourself with as much whole foods as possible, with good proteins, from chicken. With regards to supplements, like, I think they have their place. Like, for example, like whey protein. Like, if you're busy and you have it's just a really packed schedule and you've got no time to cook, like, whey is a great alternative to get your protein count in, right? Or if you don't have time to prepare like proper food, sure, whey protein will help in that sense. So there's definitely like a time. Like, I think that you can definitely limit yourself, limit your financial exposure towards doing fitness is not saying I'm gonna put money into buying supplements and going to the gym. It should be fitness is I'm gonna be putting money into making me healthier, making me stronger, right? It shouldn't be driven by how pop culture sort of defines it, I guess, if that makes sense. Like, don't fall for all these like marketing tricks and traps, that make it seem like if you go to the gym, you need to take these supplements, like, because that's not the case. Even like creatine, like, it's a great supplement. Like, I completely agree with you guys. Like, it helps a lot, and but it's not necessary, right? It's definitely not something that if you train you have to take creatine. It's always an option, right? And that's what I think our viewers here, I think we want to drive the message home here is like, we do despite us having all these like supplements and us ruling them out, like which is good and which is bad, at the end of the day, it's not necessary to get stronger, right?
Yeah.
You can get stronger without them.
But what if we guide the conversation a bit more? Okay, if we're talking about powerlifting,
Yeah.
as a sport, and obviously you want to be good at the sports that you do.
Yeah.
Then food be, I guess, a huge part of the equation. What do you guys think? Haris, do you want to?
Yeah, I think I've added my thoughts.
So we're talking about food for
Powerlifting, yeah. For
Oh,
sports,
okay, right.
For performance, I guess, yeah.
Like for instance, right? If you're a competitive powerlifter and you train in and out, like how does food weigh in on how good you are as an athlete or not?
Okay.
Yeah.
So food is because when you train, you're providing your body the stimulus, right? And the food allows for the recovery. So if you are, let's say, hypothetically, if you're just training and you're never eating, then you're never gonna get stronger because you need to recover to get stronger. So food, I mean, that in itself already shows how important food is. Equally as important is getting in about food. What's important is especially getting in enough protein because you want to be able to build back the muscle that you sort of damaged in the gym. Now, as a powerlifter in Malaysia, protein is a bit of a struggle to get in, especially if you are a very busy person and you rely on eating out. When I was studying overseas in New Zealand, that was not such big of a deal because I could walk into a convenience store and get I think a chocolate drink. I don't know if I've covered this before, but I could get a drink for $3, which has around 50 grams of protein. So that's a third of my protein done for the day. You won't find that in Malaysia, or you could, but it's definitely going to break your back. So as a Malaysian, if you want to do powerlifting seriously, you probably have to prep your protein. Like, you have to cook and prepare and bring it around with you if you're a busy person who travels around. I would say think about your protein first and then focus on carbohydrates. But I think I'm not even gonna go so deep in this because carbohydrate is so abundant wherever you go in Malaysia. There's gonna be carb sources everywhere. If you're just starting out, I'm not so picky on whether the carb source is clean or if it's nutritious. As long as you're getting in enough calories on a day-to-day basis with and enough protein, that should be, you're pretty much good to go lah. But yeah, like for Malaysian context, protein you probably have to prep your protein and bring it along with you if you're a busy person. If you're gonna rely on eating out, that's either it's gonna break your bank or it's gonna be hard to get just protein in. It's probably gonna be protein with some other fat, some other carbs like fried chicken, that kind of stuff. Yeah, so food is very important, basically.
Yeah, I mean, I get what both of you guys are saying. I get when, I guess as as a principle to start with, obviously training has on its own has to stand alone, has to be quality in order for you to make gains. But food does enhance that. Like whatever you put out in the gym has to be supported and supplemented with good nutrition. But on the other side, I think a lot of people don't know is the importance of sleep and rest. I think I never knew this before I started powerlifting. I guess I just worked out and I see workout as like, okay, I ate burger or I ate pizza. I guess I have to burn it out, right? Always that mindset. And now I think I've come to the other end where I can eat comfortably if I want to indulge in some, glutinous adventure, whatever, gluttony, and then but training goes as usual because I know it doesn't really go to waste lah. Like you can have a slice of pizza, it wouldn't kill you so much if you're not doing body, badan cantik or like you're not doing like physique, basically. So sleep, what I find most why it's important is because if I have if I plan out the week and I have some numbers to aim or like a certain range or target to meet, if I don't watch my sleep and my food is bad, but more so even worse if I don't have sleep, best believe that day's gonna be trash. I knew it, like I feel it in my bones almost. So I feel like sleep is another thing that I wish I knew it earlier. I mean, I wasn't that person even before I started lifting who didn't sleep, right? I will always prioritize sleep somewhat. I would not stay up to study or whatever like that. But I think just the quality of sleep that will result to quality training, the result in when you have quality training, then numbers you get in the training is a accurate estimation of how you're progressing and whatnot. So I think another aspect of recovery or maintaining gains, getting gains, is the most free of them all is sleep.
Yeah, I was gonna say sleep is free.
Yeah, it's like sleep is dirt free. For instance, if you can't afford to have, detailed nutrition, afford a nutritionist to guide you in that sense. If you watch over your sleep and do that as well, I think you're taking one step in the right direction. I cannot stress how many people don't have good sleep. They can say they have a busy schedule or anything like that, but the amount of time you put into sleep and the amount of work you do result in a good product. What do you guys? What experiences that you feel like you realize, sleep is so important? I mean, other than reading it, when in your training that you experience that?
Yeah, sorry, just before you go ahead, Michael, I just want to drive at this point home. So if powerlifting has 3 pillars: training, nutrition, and sleep, you're really only forking out money for the 2 pillars. Like the other one is pretty much free. Like there's no cost to sleeping, right? So I guess rest assured that it's probably not as expensive as you think it is, lah. Yeah. Anyway, Michael, yeah.
Yeah, so I think so sleep is the most important supplement, right? I guess you call it that. I mean, we do it every day. Has it ever impacted my training? Hell yeah! If I I mean, nowadays I do my best to get full at least 7 hours of sleep. But on days where I fail to get that sleep, it's just crazy to try and knock out a top set of 5 at 260 kilos. That's insane. There's no way that's happening. At least there's no way that's gonna happen good, or I'm gonna feel good about it, right? So it is a massive part of training for me, and I think everyone can agree on that. That goes without saying, right? And regardless of whatever sort of I guess, money you pour into, nutrition or training or getting the best equipment. Like, if you're not taking care of yourself and not recovering, not using that time to just kind of recover from whatever you're doing, and it's gonna eat away at any sort of meaningful progress that you're trying to make in the gym, right? You might go in and hit a session, right, and it feels like shit, but how much of that is actually quality work that you're putting in, right, compared to if you manage to get like if you're well rested and well recovered, and so that's critical as well. So because this one pillar, right, is the most important pillar of all. Like, it affects everything else. You can't live without it. Like, it's
Not just that, I think like more of the time that when instances where I don't get sleep, right, or like I get the amount that I used to get or usually gets, is that's when the injuries or the pain sort of kind of creep up. Legit.
yeah,
Like, it's not even like big injuries. Sometimes that nagging pain that you get. Once I sort out my hydrations, when I sorted out my sleep. Sometimes that nagging pain just goes away. I cannot explain it. Nor I have the expertise to explain it. But oftentimes when like the people that come to me like, Azati, I have this pain, blah blah blah. I was like, how are you sleeping? Like, literally, I just asked them, how are you sleeping? Or not enough. It's like, can you just try to get enough sleep and see if that goes away or not? And when that and sometimes that first step is most important. And I often see that people who I work with or people who I've known who get enough sleep, they don't get injured all the time. They don't have to seek out, not to say that chiropractors or physiotherapists are redundant. I don't say that. That's not what I'm driving here. I'm saying that the more you care about trying to, patch up your body, let your body cope up with the amount of stress and work that you're giving it, because inherently what working out is introducing stress to the body, a good stress, obviously. So if you don't allow that body to cope up with the amount of stress that you're giving it, clearly it's not going to hold up, after a certain period of time. And on top of that, if you have like external stress, outside training stress, that will, accumulate very quickly, and your body will find its way to show how that is not being addressed. Some people have it in lower back pain. I have often times in my shoulder, my neck. Not to say all pain has to be treated through sleep. That's not either my point. But if you pay attention enough to your sleep, you will able to delay, I think, at least from my experience, you delay all this undue injury that you don't want to bring into your life. I learned this because I used to be coached by Haris, obviously. I learned this through him, actually. Like, he said, why don't you just look at your sleep a bit more? And before I was like, sleep? Mate, I have actual pain here. Like, you asked me just to sleep. It was such a radical thing when I first knew about it. I was like, this man, what a thing he is. Like, I used to think
minimizing my pain. My pain is real.
Yeah, like,
what do you mean sleep?
Imagine going to your coach
I
and then you're
miss
like,
my pain.
it's like, by the way, I think I have a pain in my shoulder. It's like, how are you sleeping? I was like, this amount of hour. Or try to sleep more. I was like,
It sounds such a mom thing to say, like.
Yeah, like, what?
Sleep more.
And then if you're new, you can't make the mental correlation, like the logic link. It's not there, I was like, how is sleep had to do with pain? Like, And then as you give it a try, you allow your body to rest. I think you get what I'm trying to say here. So, yeah.
I think I don't know if I'm right, but I think at the time it was something that just happened suddenly with you. Like, before this, that problem.
Yeah.
So, and then it turns out, that probably happened during like a really stressful period in your life, and it suddenly manifested. And so I figured, it's probably your sleep, because you're not recovering properly.
Yeah, sleep is huge. Like,
so
I think
it's like, it is that, like, if you, sorry, go on.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say, like, people underestimate the amount. Like, I mean, it's not just sleep. You know, like people underestimate the amount of stress like your life puts on your training. You know, like it's not like something
Yeah.
that's like like your life outside the gym affects your training so much. Like and you know that needs to be like mitigated in some way. Like you need to recover from that. You know, it's not like your training in the gym exists alone, stand alone, like complete
Yep,
in its
yep.
own universe, and then your work and everything happens around it, like and doesn't affect anything. No, it's just part of your life. That you know, if you got like a long day at work, right, the day before, and then you sleep for 2 or 3 hours, right, and you go into work the next day, you're gonna feel like shit at work as well. Not only in the gym, you're gonna feel like shit the whole day. Like that's just about it, right? Like and so, yeah, it's just driving home against the point, like regardless of whatever other like expenses that we have, like sleep is free. That's the most important thing you should worry about. I think as we all get better as athletes, like me, you, me, Haris, Zati, I think the emphasis becomes more on recovery. You know, like Zati has mentioned, it's not so much about what do I need to take. You know, like what do I need to do with training. Like at the end of the day, whatever you have, like with regards to your programming, your nutrition, if you don't have sleep, we're not gonna get anywhere. Like that's just the message. Like even though you fork out all this money on BCAAs and creatine and whey protein, you know, you go to like the best training facility, God forbid Aspire, you know, in Malaysia, and you know, and you. And then you sleep for 2-3 hours a night, and you wake up feeling like looking like a zombie, trying to hit your next 5 at RPE 9 the next day. Like that's not gonna happen. What do you think you're gonna do? Yeah. So
It'll be there on midday, bro. Like
it'll be there on midday, bro. Yeah. All right. So we've kind of talked a bit about sleep, right? And yeah, it being the freest thing you can do. So let's try to talk a bit more about the quality. Well, is it quality? Well, the options. Yeah, I think Haris was talking about the options of like having health food in Malaysia, and that's pretty scarce, right? And so that's what other alternatives do you have?
Harris mentioned about like when he was studying in New Zealand, there's like milkshake.
I think there are a few brands that are popping up, right?
That serves, yeah. So it's not that it's not available in Malaysia. It's not a cheap option. It's definitely on the higher end in terms of diet choices that you can make. No harm if you can afford it, go ahead. If you can't, then what alternatives can you seek out, right? I think the general population or traditional ways of thinking, like eggs is the cheapest protein that you can get. That is, eggs is cheap.
No cap.
Not gonna fry. No cap. Yeah. but I think if budget is really a constraint on you and you really want to have quality protein in you and you can't take any more eggs or you're allergic to eggs, unfortunately, I know that this is from personal experience or people that I know. They go out of the way and wake up super early in the morning and go to the flea market or they go to like wet market because those places offers cheaper like price proteins. You can get a beef at the supermarket at like super expensive, clean cut, well prepped, but you can get way cheaper in a flea market or wet market. It's just that the same argument of you can control how much you spend if you seek out for the alternative options, right? Chicken is cheap in Malaysia, dirt cheap. Seafood is probably the expensive end, and yeah, you're not limited to a certain type of food. Like I think I used to think about this is good source of food, this is bad source of food. Do they exist in the spectrum in terms of like leanness? Yeah, sure, they do, like most things. But you can't demonize, certain protein and accentuate certain protein. For instance, like, oh yeah, like I don't know, chicken thigh is bad protein, but white eggs is amazing protein. I don't think that's the case. I think as long as you get enough protein and if you're not getting to the goal of 6% body fat, which most powerlifters don't, chicken thigh is just as good. Just remove the skin, like there are things like that I think you will get along the way as into your journey as you gain experiences. But just talking about alternatives in Malaysia, my hope and dreams is that this kind of like milk drink, or I don't know, your protein pudding, that kind of stuff, becomes a bit more cheaper as it touches the Gen Pop, as a as the mass market accepts it as non-proprietary product, because I think the way it's produced, placed is like, oh, this is a health product, and everything else is like normal product, Yeah. So I think that's why they use that as a leverage to charge premium, when in fact food are just food.
Food is food. Food is food.
Yeah.
But as we can see in the next episode, that's not the case. I mean, sure, food is food. We got macronutrients, but we also talk about, in depth a bit more about nutrition in our next episode. So I think this is a good place to end it. All right, we'll see you soon, guys.
Just
don't worry about it.
This is a.
Wait,
So I want to.
Hang on.
If
Harris is
you
on
are
me.
running around for work and stuff, and you're in doubt, just go for chicken rice. I think that's probably like the best food that you can eat. That's the probably most productive to go. So go for chicken rice, get the breast, take the skin out, and just have a good time.
Have a good time.
Those are like under 10 ringgit stuff,
Yep.
Yeah, legit. Just, if you're feeling a bit funky that day, just add another chicken. Like add another piece. You can always do that. Make sure you ask for dada. They don't charge you extra for that, so not in Malaysia at least. Alright guys, so thanks for listening. We'll see you in the next episode, and have a good one.
Ciao.